Welcome back. So, I say this a lot, been doing a lot of ACEOs. It's kind of my go-to right now. It's good for, they're easy to ship, they don't take very long to make, and the only downside is you usually do them on cardstock or something that's not really meant for watercolor or acrylic or oil. So I had a plan. I'm always experimenting and trying things, so I figured what I wanted to do is find a canvas paper, which I did, found canvas paper. Now this is a little bit of a misnomer on Hobby Lobby's part. This is watercolor. The problem is that it acts more like a canvas and it doesn't absorb into, this is a canvas paper. Literally it's canvas, like with a, like paper pulp blended into canvas. Anyway, so it's flexible, but it's it's light, it's very thin. So you need to put it on some kind of a backing board or something. So I might glue this onto a piece of, a piece of wood or something that we have laying around, thin, like a thin ply maybe, or even like a masonite or something like that. Something that's thin enough that can still maintain card status. So you can slide it into a plastic holder, but I can also paint oil and acrylic on it, something I want to try. And then my wife, with her adeptness, she caught this. Again, at Hobby Lobby, they had these art boards, and I didn't know they actually make a canvas art board. This is Canson, as you can see here. And I like Canson as a paper brand. Never had any problems with it. Anyway, this, I don't know if you can tell, it is a canvas material. And so it has like a canvas. I don't know if this is canvas textured or if it's actually canvas pressed into the board. I don't really know. I just grabbed it. It was like $6. So what I'm going to do, this is a 16 by 20. I want to cut this down into ATC or ACEO size cards, and then I have something to paint on. But then I also have this to experiment to see which one behaves better, which one's easier to work with. I assume this will be fine. It's also it's considerably thick, if you can see that. But it's still thin enough that it'll fit in the card sleeves. So a couple of different options to try. And I also, a while back, I grabbed this thing, which allows me to, again, from the Hobby Lobby, which, if you know what it is, it's a paper cutter, but it allows me to cut more precisely without having to think about what size it is or whatever. You don't have to think too much about it. You can just sit here and watch TV and cut these little cards out. Now, I don't know how well it's going to work for this. It'll at least score this. Now, as you can tell, this is not the same size. This will not work with this. So I'm going to score this first. So to yield the best number, so to speak, ideally, is to cut it straight down the center, and then I can use both these sides with that and just sit there and cut them and see how it goes. Hopefully it'll come out okay, because I would like to be able to paint oil and acrylic. I have oils that I've had for a couple years now. They're just sitting in the drawer, and the main reason I haven't used my oils in a while was cleanup. I don't have any spirits to clean with, and I haven't remembered to buy any, so that's gonna have to change. And I just figured I would stretch. They're small gram paints, and I feel like it's gonna get burnt through really quickly if I use a bigger size canvas, so I can get more out of the mileage with these little things. It's a thought. Anyway, I'm gonna try to cut this real quick. I'm gonna score it with the razor blade like I've done in the past, and then I'm gonna use this guy to see if it'll cut. It'll at least score it, and if that does that, then I can use a razor blade, go behind it and cut it. So see what happens. Back in the good old garage, trying to square this up. Yeah, never mind the mess. This is a working garage. Okay, so I brought some tape with me just so I can tape it down. Doesn't slide too much. As I mentioned, my wife sells online, and so we have a lot of these boxes, but they're no longer usable for online for what she does. She has a different kind of box now, so we have a few of them left. We took most of them back. These are the ones that are just laying around, so I figured, well, you know what? Might as well use it as a base to cut this. This will protect the surface of the canvas board and give me something to tape it down to so it doesn't move around too much, hopefully. I already have this tape. This tape is, this isn't frog tape, by the way. This isn't the good stuff. This is just some Temu thing, I think. But nonetheless, I just don't want it shifting around me when I'm trying to cut. So hopefully this will help. Now I know the cardboard itself underneath will move. I'm not as worried about that. This is just to help the board from sliding. I don't want it to slide while I'm cutting. As long as this moves as one unit, I'm good. I don't really use this tape for anything, so it just sits in the drawer. So I figured I'd use it real quick. It's actually not bad tape. I don't know what brand it is. Like I said, it's not frog tape proper. I don't know what it is exactly, but it does do the job. So that's what matters. Now the idea is to cut this into two long 20-inch pieces. Measure twice, cut once, right? There's an inch either side that I can throw away. I'm going to have to throw away. So now that I'm thinking about it, it's okay if it's not perfectly straight. I realized I screwed that up right there. Was it slipped? That's okay, as long as it's straight enough, because then I can use that cutter. And this is actually kind of like a foam board, so it should cut pretty easily. That's pretty close. Normally I can cut straighter than that. I'm a little jumpy today. But again, it doesn't matter if this is straight, because I'm going to cut these ends off anyway, an inch on either side. I just want to peel this paper off the back. I don't like that. The tape's usually okay, but see, it's tearing that backing off. That's not very good. That's okay though. Then and cut this to the front. Like I said, it's okay that this isn't like perfectly straight because I'm going to cut this edge off anyway when I use this cutter over here. Should be fine because the 2.5 inch cards, this is a 16 inch board, so you get 2.5, what, 3.5. Yeah, so these will cut to, I had thought all this through already. These are, they're supposed to be roughly 8 inches, and then you get, you know, say 2.5 there, 5, and then 2.5 would be shy of it anyway. So you get, what do you think? 2.5, 2.5, 5, 7.5. Yeah. So that 1/2 inch there is going to get cut off anyway, so not a big deal. And then the same thing, if you did it as a 3.5, it'd be 3.5 and then 7, so you get an inch cut off anyway. So it doesn't really make much difference, because if you take the 20 inch, divide it out, it's 2.5, so 5 inch, you get 10 of them. In other words, like, let's see, I'm sure I'm not making any sense. Here's your halfway point. So there's 1, 2, 3, and then 4, and then you do it all the way across the end. It's best to cut these at 2.5 lengthwise. Really, what are you doing? So if I can cut these at 2.5 and then these at 3.5, I should be good, assuming that this is the part that I throw away. So as long as I'm conscious of that, it should be okay. So I'm going to get out of this hot ass garage and I'm going to go set it up in the room real quick and see if I can knock that out real quick.
So this little cutter I'm using here, I got from Hobby Lobby. I think it was like $10, maybe even less. And I'm using it to cut that Canson board. Since I was able to, I had to cut it down the center to split it, because this only cuts 12-inch sized paper at max. And so it took a little bit of scoring. I had to fold the card stock back where, you know, the artboard had to be folded back and forth a little bit, create a crease, and then cut the backside. It was a little bit of a workaround, but you know what? It worked. It did the job. I mean, it would have been easier to do with a different kind of cutter, but that's what I was working with. But it worked out.
I ended up with 31 of them. One of them I accidentally cut the wrong size. I have a couple of things I want to try. I have this slow dry gel and my heavy gloss gel. I have both of these. Obviously, I looked online to see if anybody else had any suggestions on how to mount this to something like paper or wood. And of course, I thought of wood glue, which I actually used to glue this together. Believe it or not, I use this to, it's pretty solid. I don't think it's going to go anywhere. I might not sell this one with this crease in here. I don't know if it's going to matter. I might be able to put some gel on it or something and make that work. I don't know. We'll see. As long as it holds up, I don't care. You won't be able to tell. Right now I have tape on the back too, just to let it keep curing. Usually takes about a day or so for it to fully cure. So this stuff, which I will show you, is very, very thin. I had checked another piece of, I know that because I checked another piece of paper or another canvas pad at the store. They had the same, it's the same brand and everything. It's just, it was a bigger size and it had already been, it was out of the paper, or out of the plastic. So I was able to check and see how thick it was and everything. And I was kind of going back and forth, and that's why I ended up with these cards, like I said, which I'm going to use both of these. I just figured, for one thing, I can charge a little bit more for painting. I feel like it's a little more, it has a higher perceived value than traditional drawing. I just know that from my own experience. Maybe your mileage may vary. So I wanted to see if maybe I could take a sheet of this and glue it down to this, and I will show you again. I said I was going to do that. This is the canvas paper. Okay, it's very, very flexible. It very much feels like canvas. Like it feels like an untreated, even though it is a premium cotton, as you can see here. It says, like I said, watercolor, but somebody had mentioned online it's a bit of a misnomer. It's not the best way to think of it. It's better to think of it as treat it like a canvas instead. A canvas without backing. All right. It's unstretched canvas basically, and it has, like I said, I don't know if it's got paper pulp in it or what, but nonetheless, I'm going to use this on here because this is far more solid, and I've had problems with this wanting to buckle. So if I glue this, I'm hoping this will act as a strong enough backing for this canvas paper. And I'm going to try it a couple different ways because wood glue apparently in anything water-based will cause some buckling, which makes sense even with this being paper. The canvas itself can, cause bubble and curling, and I really don't want that. So I'd seen slow dry gel is possible to use, and also heavy gloss. Now this is a little stickier. This will dry faster than this will for sure. I don't know how much to use. It says it's just kind of lightly layered on there. I'm gonna try a couple different ones. I'm gonna try this one and see how they handle. And if I don't like the results of those for some reason, I do have wood glue. I could try that as well. And I'm gonna try it on the paper first. If not, I do have some scrap wood around here that I can cut into ACEO size. So we shall see how that works. Yeah, this is very much frayed. So what I'm gonna do is, glue this together, and then I'm going to go back and cut it with my cutters. I think that's an easier way to approach it. It's just my thought anyway. For no particular order, I'm going to do the heavy gloss first. Yeah, and then also, I don't know if it matters which side you use. Oh, yeah, you can see this has like a priming on it versus this side. So that's the side I'm going to glue down. It's definitely canvas, I'll tell you that much. Pretty much fraying, as canvas will do. So I need just to find a sponge brush if I can find one. Possibly, I mean, I can always just use a brush too. I'm not too worried about it. Always do it by hand too. It's not that big of a deal. I just figured it'd be better to use something to apply the paint with rather than, you know, my bare hands. Thanks, Ginger. I'm glad you jumped on my table where my stuff is at. So I'm gonna lay this down and glue it. And we have clamps and things if I need to. I have plenty of weight laying around, but just thinking about how I want to put this. Where do I want to put this paper so that it's not. I'm going to try this. I have no idea how this is going to work out. I've had this gloss for a very long time now, so it doesn't hurt my feelings to use. I'm just going to try to brush this on. And you don't use all of it anyway. At least I don't when I cut these paper pieces, into paper. So the edges won't necessarily matter if you don't go all the way to the edge, but I will try. I don't know how much working time I have with this gel. I've never used it as a glue before. I only ever use it to paint with. But I haven't been using the heavy gloss one as much because I like the slowing drying time of the slow dry. And so, whatever. And nothing's that precious to me. I mean, I just work with what I have. So, I don't like to experiment with stuff. Yeah, that's wanting to dry up really fast. So, I'm just going to try to actually put a little bit more. I may not be able to use this, actually. Well, let's see. I may not leave this out. I'm trying to work fast, but it's very hard to do. This doesn't want to. I guess I could have wet the paper a little bit if I only had a brain, huh? It is a water-based, so let's do a little bit of water. Let's see what it does. I know it might buckle a little, but spread out too. Seen a bunch of people suggest doing it this way, so I wanted to try it. Now I know, even though I said water-based glues and stuff, I'm referring to like wood glue or traditional Elmer's glue or things like that can cause more problems than help, from my understanding. So I'm trying it this way. Normally I don't have any problem putting wood glue on by hand, but this stuff is much thicker. I was trying to avoid doing that. I don't know if that's gonna work or not, because it's kind of, see how thick that is? It's wanting to pull. I don't know. This may not be the best way to do it. Let's find out. I mean, that's probably about as best as I'm gonna be able to get it. Okay, let's try it this way. I'm trying to work fast, but also not freak out. See if this will line up a little better this way. No, this is way off. I don't understand. It's supposed to be cut to 912. I didn't actually measure. See if that's right. But it is what it is. See, there's quite a bit of buckling going on. I'm not trying to let that happen. This is working like a candle in a hurricane. It's probably going to dry before I get on here. Nonetheless, I don't need all of that anyway. So I'm not that worried about it. I'm trying to pull out any possible bubbles there might be. It's like putting a sticker on, you know? Yeah, see, that wants to buckle a little too much. Yeah, that's not staying on there. Look at that. This is a slow dry. It kind of reminds me of silicone. I used to work on a job site a lot. God, I use a lot of silicone putting windows in. All in the name of science, creativity. I'm just curious if I can make my own. If it's worth doing, I'll make more. Because it's relatively inexpensive to do it this way, for one. Like I said, I don't plan on keeping all of this. Some of it's going to have to get cut, so not too concerned about it. All right, like I said, I'm going to try this. I don't know how well this is going to work. It is tacky, though, I will say. That's good. And for some reason, this doesn't work. I'll just do something else. The other ones I think will work fine, the ones that I already cut up, so not too concerned about this not working, but I will find a way to make this work. Because if this isn't going to work with the glue, or using this as a glue, then I'm going to have to find some other way to glue it. Let's see if that holds. I'm going to have to put something on here. Like I said, this isn't perfectly square lined, but you notice that this isn't the same size anyway. Best I can do, and I will cut it to fit as best as I can, and I'm going to try putting this here, and let me get myself another piece of paper just in case I do want to try the other one. I will try maybe, well, I don't know. Let's see what else I'm thinking I might do. That gel didn't really work. The heavy gloss gel doesn't really work, but the slow dry seems to be better, and that's good. I just need some way to clamp this. I have a bunch of wood clamps, but I can also just use some paint cans. Maybe it'll help hold it down. I don't know if it'd be better if I had a way to press it, that would be, I used to have a heat press. Don't anymore. Do that. These aren't very heavy, but certainly better than not having any weight on it. I have actual weights if I need to use them, but I'd rather not. Anything else we got laying around I could use? Wait, anything at all? I mean, we do have a bunch of crap in here. This only needs a couple hours to dry, from my understanding. As long as it's got pressure on it, should be okay. This drill's right here. I could just use this. It's this battery. It's heavier than that is. I could use weights, but you know what? This is what I have laying here, so I'm gonna use it. All right, we're gonna see if that will hold. And if not, no worries. I do want to try wood glue though, because even though it says not to, I mean, yeah, that's working, seems like. So give it a couple hours to sit here and just do whatever. Corners, just wait on here randomly. So I don't really think this slow dry was the way to go, and I don't think this heavy gel is the right way to do it. It was just drying too fast and getting gunked up. So I mean, it is a little older, but it's not ever really caused me any problems. You know, whatever. To each their own. Okay, so now, even though it says not to use a wood glue, I can't help but try it, because if you use a wood glue thinly, it's usually okay, and I can just rub it on my hand. Let me rinse this off. The other trick then, can't help myself, I want to try it with the wood glue, which is right here. I'll have to get something else to put the weight on this. I have actual weights, so I'll just have to use, get a sheet of this out. And just for argument's sake, I want to show you, this is a 912. This is also a 912, but how inaccurate things can be. That's how much of a difference there is. On this one, it's really close, but there's about 1/8 of an inch or so from one edge to the other. And that one sheet, I don't know if it was, those are much closer. The other sheet, when it was not doing that. So here's what it is. So I'm going to try to wood glue this because curiosity and the cat and all that. I can't help myself. I got to do it. Now, normally on wood, this stuff won't dry up right away. It takes a long while, but I don't know how paper is going to behave with this, so it's worth a try though. You usually don't need a lot of, you can spread wood glue out pretty far. Cleans up really easily too. That might be more than I need, but it is what it is. Some people had said that the wood glue buckles or whatever, but I don't know. I've never had wood glue do that. If you're careful with it, or you know, if you're patient and if you used it a lot, you'll know how it behaves. And but again, this is on paper, so I don't really know how this is going to behave, because it likes to wick the water very, very quickly. And as I say, nothing is that precious to me. It's better to try it and find out than to wonder. Wonder boy. Since this wood glue takes longer to dry, I figure I have more time to work with it. But again, I don't know how it's going to behave, so I won't tell you to try this until I know it works. And it bonds wood incredibly well, so why not? And it comes off your hands very easily. You can just wash it off with soap and water. Normally, it's not this much of a pain to do either. I should have spread it a little better. That's okay. Normally, like I said, it's on wood and it glides a lot easier, so I do not know how this is going to behave. Do as I say, not as I do. Now, do what you want, man. If you want to try stuff, what's the point? Why not? You're afraid of doing failing? Good. Fail. Fail miserably. It's the only way you're going to learn. Speaking of, I still am studying for the AWS. I'm ready to test for the CCP, but I am now also going to study for the dev, because I am a software developer and I figure might as well learn the cloud stuff. And I have a potential way in somewhere, maybe, but I don't know for sure. So that's why I'm trying it. This is taking a lot of glue, far more than I anticipated, is what it is. I can't use all of this anyway, so it's not worth doing edge to edge necessarily. Hopefully I can shift this around, get this on here right and good like. First try. First time's a charm. I don't know. We'll see what I can do. So I know that's squared up, like they're the same size. Need to be careful putting this on here. Oh, okay. We'll just plop it on there then. It's fine. Like I said, it doesn't matter. I can't use all of it anyway. Because when you cut it into the 9x12 into 2.5 by 3 inch, you have leftover. So no biggie smalls. The easiest thing to do is probably to wedge this out here, like I did here, but you know, I've got weights I can use, so no biggie. I do think this is going to hold though. Also not buckling at all, so we'll see when it dries. The thing is too, I don't want to have any of this glue sticking out, because this stuff, when it does cure, it cures really well. Let me see about doing this over here. If it cures to the wood underneath, I'm saying it's going to be hard to get off. It's the best I can do. Okay, now I'm going to try to put this under pressure like that. Put some weights on it, and we should be good. Yeah. Okay, got the 5-pound weight. Actually, let me go get the other ones too. I don't even know if I need. Well, yeah, screw it. That'll work. That's plenty enough weight, I think. And it's on there pretty good, so yeah. We'll leave that there for a couple hours and see what's up. All right, let's see if this held up. I don't know how it's going to do. This is the wood glue one, so I assume it's going to take a little longer to do. If I have to, I'll move it. I mean, I'll let it sit a little longer. Well, it seems like that held up. It looks like that held up pretty well. I'm going to try cutting that and see if it did a job. I don't know if it needs more time than that. Usually a couple of hours. It'll be cured up over the night, though. Let me see. Let's see what this says, just to be sure. It says allow the bond to dry for 24 hours on the Gorilla Glue. For the sake of argument, I'll leave it there to do that. And then this one shouldn't have taken as long. It only takes a couple of hours for this to dry, and I assume it's cured up after it's dried. I don't know for sure. Curing process, of course, is a little different than drying. Drying usually entails, well, it's not wet anymore. And curing is making sure that it's adhered really solidly. Let's see. Now, there's a little bit of bubbling in here. Not a big deal. Most of it's pretty flat here, and that is the acrylic. This is the acrylic gesso. I'm sorry, the acrylic medium, the slow dry. It is, how do they compare, let's say, for S's and G's? Let's let's see here. They feel pretty close. Like, I mean, this is supposed to dry a little harder, the wood glue, and it doesn't seem to be. It seems like it's okay so far. It also seems like it's a lot cleaner. And there's this guy, which again, it's had enough time to dry. It should be dry, and it's a little bit more bubbly. So if I'm gonna try anyway, I'm gonna go against myself. I'm gonna try to cut this. I want to see how it handles, because if it cuts well, like if it's cured already, good. If it's not, then okay, I'll let it dry. It's an experiment. I want to see how this will hold. I want to see which one dry faster, or if it'll hold up, or whatever. I'm too curious. Even though it says to give it 24 hours, that's the bond for wood. This is paper, so it's probably dried up and cured up enough for what I'm using it for. I'm gonna go find out real quick.
So here I'm just cutting both sets of paper, the Gorilla Glued paper and the heavy gloss medium glued paper.
So holding them next to each other, let's see. Wood glue one versus the gel. The gel one is it feels a little bit more flexible, a tiny bit, not a whole lot, but nonetheless, it might actually work better to hold it, but we will find out, won't we? There's a whole stack of acrylics. I will have a lot of stuff to paint now. Anyway, I have plenty more of those to go, and if I need them, I will do them as I need them. So that's it. Catch you on the next one. Peace.